and let's transition on to the Mandalorian finale. So we did a review show that'll get posted pretty soon around the penultimate episode of The Mandalorian. We spent a lot of time dissecting it. Great episode. Trey, I like it. Excellent. And if those of you that watch our Mandalorian review, you're going to see Trey spend the entire time in that beanie, which is worth it on its own. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the finale. Really interested to get you guys' thoughts. So let's do the same thing. Tony, I'm going to start with you, your rating, and then just give your overall thoughts on it.
Rating, I'd probably give it a 8.5 if I had to. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed it. Let's put it that way. It wasn't what I wanted to happen on the selfish side. It was not the way I would have written it. Like you were saying about our video before, I think that would have been a little better. But hey, I'm not getting paid to make these decisions, so we'll go with this one. Yeah, I mean, it was great. The fanboy in me was like, of course, and yes, and I got teary-eyed and all that kind of thing. Like, it was good. It was well done. But, here we go, relying upon characters that have been a part of the world for a long time. So I was kind of hoping for someone new, but we got Luke, and that was fine. I think the CGI was a little off, but it was
way off. Well, sadly. So I'll go next on this one, Trey. I'll let you go last. Yeah. You can kind of anchor us on this one because I know you're very opinionated about it. So my rating's a 9.5. I actually think the episode was extremely well done. It was pretty amazing. Probably one of the best hours of just pure Star Wars that you could ever ask for. A couple of things that really bothered me about the episode. I think the extended gunfights with Cara Dune and Fennec and the stormtroopers, to me, just went on and on and on, and just kind of got really boring and repetitive. And then I think Luke showing up at the end was pretty awesome. The lightsaber piece that he did was obviously a callback to the Darth Vader scene that was put into Rogue One. And I think it really showed Luke at the height of his power. Obviously, it was a little bit also of a fix for The Last Jedi that unfortunately showed Luke in a much poorer light. I think for me, where the episode fell apart, there was two pieces at the end that really bothered me. So one, I think the Darksaber storyline and the fact that she wouldn't take it from him, from Mando, was just really dumb in my opinion. I know there's history there. I understand that. I understand through Star Wars Rebels that there's a lot of history of how the Darksaber has to be handed down, but it felt suddenly TV cartoonish villain to me versus I'm watching Star Wars and I'm immersed in something better. And then I think the Luke reveal, to your point, Tony, the CG or the CGI wasn't really good at all. It was clear that it was CG. It was obvious that it was fake. Sadly, it's better than what was in some of the ones like Rogue One and even the most recent Star Wars movie. And so, I give them a little bit of credit for that. Maybe in time they can go back and fix that. It just, it's fake. It looks fake. And to me, it pulls you out of the moment and reminds you that you're watching a TV show. And I think, to me, that's not what it should do. You should get lost in it. And I was lost in it for the most part. But that moment, the CG totally pulled me out. And that's why I couldn't give it a perfect score. If they had nailed that, I could have gotten maybe over some of the other stuff. So, Trey, I'm going to hand it off to you because I know you've got all the opinions on this one. So take it home.
First of all, I just want to say I respect both of y'all's opinions.
No, you don't.
They matter to me. I respect them.
No, you don't.
No, I think y'all make some really good points, and I agree with that. Those are some of the shortcomings. However, so for me, it was a 10, not even close. To me, it was one of the best episodes of a show that I've ever watched. Not necessarily because of, and the episode I think was really good, but there's certainly issues with it, right? You called out some of those, but because of what they had built and the emotional attachment that you have to not only the Grogu storyline, but and I told you guys I woke up on a Friday morning going through Twitter and I'm like, okay, like what I have to turn it off because of what people are talking about. and I just start. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like halfway awake, and I'm watching this, and so I don't know. At 7:15, Luke's God, I'm blanking on it. Luke's plane. Help me out here.
The X-Wing?
His
Luke's
X-Wing.
X-Wing. An X-Wing pulls
up. You're not qualified to score this.
Clearly not. Clearly not. Yeah, I kept on thinking TIE Fighter. Obviously, that's not it. The X-Wing pulls up, and you're like, like no way. Like, and we had even talked about it in the review. Like, it would be cool if he came, if he showed up, but I don't think they'll do that. And then I think the way they did the reveal and the music, and we always talk about the music in different movies, Chris, and in different scenes. The music, and then you see the hand, and you see the green lightsaber, and you're like, I mean, I'm just like, holy, like this is, and I think the way he went through and to what you said, Chris, the throwback to the Rogue One scene, you kind of got your Luke scene that we'd never really seen that before from Luke, right? From Master Luke, we had never really seen that. I don't think it was a full redemption for what they did to him in The Last Jedi. But it was a start. It made me feel better about his legacy, and even Mark Hamill, had talked about that. So I think when an episode grabs that much emotion from myself, but also when you see around the world and on the internet and on Twitter and everything, how people reacted to that, like I think they did something really special, and I think they hit a home run with the CGI. Okay, I agree with that, but I can look past that because they built a story around something that you had an emotional attachment to. And Luke wasn't even, for a lot of people, the biggest emotional attachment. For for Vanessa, for my wife, she cried when he had to give up Grogu. I cried when it showed it was Luke. So I think for a show, a TV series, to be able to do that at those different levels for a new audience and an old audience, and to solve some of the major issues with what's gone on with Star Wars, that's why I give it a 10, but I agree with the criticisms. And I think it also did set up things. It completely broke free of the Grogu storyline, and it set up some new things that I think that we know that would be pretty exciting to see. So that's why I disagree with you guys.
Well, listen, I don't think there's any debate at all that the episode was amazing. So I totally agree with you, Trey. And I had an emotional response the moment the green lightsaber lit up. Like I yelled out loud, "Oh my God, it's Luke!" Like you knew exactly like who it was. And you thought you knew who it was, but once you saw that, like you knew it. So it was amazing. I think there's rumors that potentially Sebastian Stan might come in and begin taking on the role of Luke over time. I actually have warmed up to the idea. Tony, you and I have talked about it. I was very much against it. I've seen some of the mock-ups of what he could look like. I think they could potentially make it work. But I would like to see them explore new characters. Going back to the conversation earlier, and that's what, if you look at, The Mandalorian has become the de facto show on Disney Plus. It's an anchor show. It's one of the top stream shows of all the streaming services, and it's on a brand new character that barely touches, some of the characters that we've known, our whole lives, the Star Wars movies. So I think the other thing, and I know, Tony, you'd mentioned this before as well, but Trey, one of the things that I think was a little disappointing is that in the biggest moment in the finale of the second season, where the viewership's the highest, they've built this brand off of original characters. What did they do? They went back to the well. Now I'm not going to debate. It makes perfect sense that Luke's the guy that Grogu reached out to, right? He's probably the most powerful Jedi at that particular time. Based on the timeline, he should be building his Jedi Academy. The timing works perfect. It all makes perfect sense. It just was a little bit disappointing that had to be the moment. The other thing too is it was a little bit fan servicey, in that he just sort of showed up, didn't really have to explain himself at all, and then Mando just gave Grogu over, because they sort of manipulated it to some degree, because they played with the fact that we are so familiar with Luke that we trust him. But our main character shouldn't trust him at all. Mando has no idea who this guy is. So I was a little bit bothered by that too. Similar to how the Penny Ultimate episode ended with Mando sending a message to Moff Gideon saying, "I'm coming for you." It was more fan service versus, making sense, in the service of the story. But overall, I thought the episode was amazing. Trey, it was great. I know I didn't give it a 10 and you're bothered by that. You should be more bothered by the fact that Tony gave it an 8. Come on, like I gave it a 9.5 at least.
8.5.
I'm trying to figure out how you gave Wonder Woman 1984 an 7.5, and you gave that episode a 9. But that's okay. We have plenty of time to hash those things out in the reviews.
All right, guys. So we're gonna get into the final segment of the show. We're gonna talk about